How China got rich by choosing capitalism, not by government design. For decades, Western observers have told a tidy story. China's meteoric rise was the result of a wise and far-sighted Communist Party guiding the nation through carefully planned reforms. But this narrative misses the truth. China did not get rich because of central planning. It got rich in spite of it. The real story is messier and more revealing. It is the story of farmers who defied the state, entrepreneurs who built businesses without permission, and local officials who bet on market forces before they had legal approval. It is the story of capitalism by necessity, not ideology. China became wealthy not because the government imposed capitalism, but because the people chose it. The government, wisely or not, got out of the way. The collapse of central planning. By the late 1970s, Maoist central planning had driven China to the edge of economic ruin. The nation was poor. Its people were starving. Its factories were rusting. Agricultural communes failed to produce enough food. State-owned enterprises were inefficient, and innovation was virtually non-existent. It was a system built on control, and it broke down under its own weight. Reform did not come from confidence, it came from crisis. The rural rebellion that sparked a revolution. In 1978, a group of farmers in Xiaogang village, Anhui province, made a bold and illegal move. They secretly divided the collective farmland among themselves. Each family would farm its own plot and keep the surplus. This violated communist doctrine, but it worked. Production soared. Instead of punishing them, local leaders took note. The experiment spread. What became known as the household responsibility system marked the beginning of China's capitalist revolution. It began not in Beijing's halls of power, but in the muddy fields of rural China. Capitalism grows in the shadows. From that moment on, innovation flourished. Often it emerged outside official boundaries. Rural farmers opened side businesses, traded goods in makeshift markets, and created township and village enterprises that operated like private companies, even if they were technically collective. There was no roadmap. There was no ideological shift or sweeping legal reform, but there was permission to try, and that was enough. The Chinese people did not wait for the party to authorize capitalism. They pursued opportunity wherever they could, navigating legal gray zones and pushing the limits of what was allowed. Capitalism emerged from the ground up, step by step. Decentralization unleashes competition. Recognizing that the central government could not manage the entire economy, the party began to decentralize authority. Provinces, cities, and towns were given new powers to attract investment, approve projects, and set local economic policy. The result was a surge of local competition. Mayors and governors became growth managers. Some cities flourished, while others lagged. The ones that succeeded proved something critical. Free enterprise worked. Special economic zones such as Shenzhen were launched as bold experiments. Once a sleepy fishing village, Shenzhen became a thriving manufacturing hub, powered by global capital, private entrepreneurship, and minimal interference. These zones showed what China could become when it let markets lead. The state steps aside, and the people step forward. The genius of China's transformation was not a grand plan. It was a willingness to let reality test ideology. Reforms were rolled out slowly, observed carefully, and expanded when they worked. Dogma gave way to pragmatism. This philosophy was summed up by Deng Xiaoping's famous phrase, "It does not matter whether a cat is black or white, as long as it catches mice." It allowed capitalism to spread not by command but by choice. The more the state stepped back, the more human creativity surged forward. Entrepreneurs built businesses. Workers moved freely. Markets grew organically. Innovation emerged not because it was ordered, but because it was allowed. The rise of the private sector. By the 1990s, the private economy had become the engine of China's growth. Small factories, tech startups, and service industries blossomed. Jobs were created not by state decree, but by private initiative. Foreign investment poured in. Global firms flocked to China's labor force and infrastructure. Local companies began to scale, compete, and dominate. The dynamism of capitalism had taken hold. It was no longer just tolerated. It was essential. Capitalism was chosen, not commanded. The notion that the Communist Party engineered China's prosperity misses the truth. It was the Chinese people, not the planners, who chose capitalism. Farmers chose productivity, shopkeepers chose trade, mayors chose competition, investors chose risk. The party followed the people. It adapted to success. It ratified the victories that others had already won. This was not capitalism imposed from above. It was capitalism discovered from below. It was built one experiment, one act of defiance, one village, and one factory at a time. Conclusion: the real engine of China's wealth. China became rich not by designing capitalism, but by discovering it. The great secret of its rise is simple. When the government loosened its grip, the people built a new economy. Capitalism worked, not because it was perfect, but because it allowed freedom, incentive, and innovation to flourish. Behind China's wealth is a powerful lesson for the world. When power steps back, people step forward.